What if I told you that one simple habit, done before sunrise, turned a poor exhausted man into someone people now call successful? Not lucky, not gifted, just consistent. And the crazy part, this habit costs nothing. No money, no degree, no connections. Just one decision at 5 a.m. This is not a fantasy story. This is about a man who had nothing but debt, doubt, and a small rented room with a leaking ceiling. His name was Arman. He worked a low-paying warehouse job. Every morning, I woke up latte, rushed out the door, skipped breakfast, and reached work already tired. His life felt like a loop. Wake up, work, complain, sleep, repeat. At night, he would scroll on his phone for hours, watching other people succeed, watching motivational videos, watching rich lifestyles, and then he would whisper to himself, one day. But one day never came, until one morning, something different happened. Armin's alarm rang at 5 a.m. by mistake. He had set it wrong the night before. He was angry at first. He almost turned it off and went back to sleep. But then he noticed something. The world was silent. No traffic. No noise. No pressure. Just calm air and darkness, slowly turning into light. For the first time in years, he sat quietly. No phone. No rush. Just his thoughts. He made tea, sat near the window, watched the sky change colors. And in that quiet moment, he asked himself a simple question. If I don't change, what will my life look like in 5 years? That question scared him more than any alarm ever could. That day, he didn't become rich. He didn't quit his job, but he made one small promise. He would wake up at 5 a.m. again the next day. Not because it was trendy, not because a billionaire said so, but because for the first time, he felt in control. The next morning was harder. No mistake this time. The alarm rang at 5 a.m., and his body wanted sleep. His mind sighed, you deserve rest. But he remembered the silence, the clarity. He got up. At first, he didn't know what to do with that extra time, so he started simple. 10 minutes of stretching, 10 minutes of reading, 10 minutes of writing his thoughts in a cheap notebook. That was it. Just 30 minutes. But something strange began to happen. Because he woke up early, he went to bed earlier. Because he slept better, he had more energy. Because he had more energy, he worked better. His boss noticed. Small tasks were done faster. Mistakes were fewer. People started trusting him more. But the real change was inside. At 5 a.m., no one needed him. No one was texting. No one was asking for favors. That time belonged only to him. And for a man who always felt behind in life, that feeling was powerful. He began using that hour to learn. Free online courses, YouTube tutorials, business podcasts. He didn't have money for college, but he had Wi-Fi and time. Every morning, while the world slept, he built skills, months passed. His co-workers still complained about the job. Armin still worked the same shift, but he was different. Calmer, focused, less reactive. He stopped wasting nights on endless scrolling. He stopped comparing himself to others, because he had something they didn't. Momentum. You see, waking up at 5 a.m. wasn't magical. It didn't give him superpowers. It gave him consistency, and consistency compounds. After 6 months, Armin had learned basic digital marketing. He started offering small services online, logo edits, social media posts, tiny gigs that paid $20 or $30. It wasn't much, but it was proof that he could earn outside his job. If you're enjoying this story so far and you want more real, life-changing stories like this, make sure you hit like and subscribe to English. It helps the channel grow, and it tells me you want more content that pushes you forward. Now let's continue, because this is where it gets interesting. One winter morning, it was freezing cold. His room had no proper heating. The blanket felt heavier than his dreams. That alarm rang at 5 a.m., and this time he almost quit. He thought, what's the point? I'm still poor. But then he remembered something. The old version of him always quit. Always chose comfort. Ife lifting, nothing would change. So he got up, shivering, made tea, sat at his small table. And that morning, while practicing a new skill, he created a sample marketing plan for a fake business. He uploaded it to a freelancing site as part of his portfolio. 3 days later, someone messaged him. It was a small business owner who needed help with social media ads. The pay wasn't huge, but it was bigger than any gig he had done before, Armand said. Yes. Immediately. It was correct. What if he failed? What if they asked for a refund? But every morning at 5 a.m., he worked on that client's project before going to his warehouse job. He studied more, tested ideas, improved designs. The campaign worked. The client got more sales. They left a positive review. That review brought another client. And another? It didn't explode overnight. There was no viral moment. No lottery win. Just early mornings. Quiet. Focus. Repeated effort. After a year, Armand was earning almost the same amount from his side work as his full-time job. But the biggest change wasn't the money. It was his confidence. He no longer saw himself as a victim of circumstances. He saw himself as a builder. All because of one decision made in silence. Waking up at 5 a.m. forced him to face himself. No distractions. No excuses. Just him and his goals. He started setting clear plans each morning. 3 tasks. That's it. Not 10. Not 20. Just 3 important tasks. And he did them before the day became chaotic. Eventually, he reduced his hours at the warehouse. Then he left. His online business wasn't massive, but it was stable. More importantly, it was his. Friends asked him, what changed? Did you meet someone? Did you get lucky? He would smile and say, I met myself at 5 a.m. That answer confused them. But it was true. The secret of 5 a.m. isn't about the time itself. It's about ownership. When you wake up before the world demands your attention, you take control of your direction. You decide who you are becoming. Most people wake up and immediately react. Notifications, emails, news, problems. But at 5 a.m., you create before you consume. Armand's mornings became sacred. Sometimes he exercised. Sometimes he read biographies of successful people. Sometimes he just sat and planned. But he never wasted that hour. And over time, that single hour changed everything. Think about it. 1 hour a day is 7 hours a week. Almost 30 hours a month. That's like adding an extra work week every month, dedicated to your dreams. Now imagine doing that for a year. That's 365 hours invested in growth, in skills, in health, in clarity. That's not small. And here's something important. Armand didn't always feel motivated. Some mornings were boring. Some mornings felt pointless. But he stopped waiting for motivation. He relied on routine, discipline over mood. One night, an old friend invited him out. Live a little, they said. You wake up too early. You're missing fun. Armand smiled. He still went out sometimes. He still enjoyed life. But he understood something they didn't. Temporary pleasure should not destroy long-term progress. He protected his mornings the way others protect their weekends. Years later, Armand moved into a better apartment. Not luxury, but comfortable. He bought his mother a new refrigerator she always needed. He paid off old debts, and every single success traced back to that first accidental 5 a.m. morning. Now, let me ask you something. What could you build with 1 focused hour every day? What skill could you learn? What body could you shape? What business could you start? The difference between where you are and where you want to be might not be talent. It might be timing. Not the clock's timing. Your decisions' timing. Armand's story is not special because he woke up early. It's special because he stayed consistent when no one was watching. There were no cameras. No applause. Just effort in the dark. That's the real secret. And I want you to understand something clearly. Waking up at 5 a.m. is not magic. If you wake up and waste that hour scrolling, nothing changes. The power is in intention. Use that time to build, not to hide. Maybe for you, 5 a.m. feels impossible right now. That's okay. Start with 30 minutes earlier. Start with one focused block. But protect it. Guard it. Treat it like an appointment with your future self. Because that's exactly what it is. Before we close, I want to hear from you. If you had 1 extra hour every morning, what would you use it for? Learning a skill, starting a business, improving your health. Comment below and let me know. I read your comments, and your story might inspire someone else. And if you believe this message could help a friend who feels stuck, share this video with them. Sometimes people don't need money. They need perspective. Remember, success rarely comes from dramatic changes. It comes from small, repeated actions done when no one is watching. Armin was once a poor man with excuses. Today, he's a disciplined man with options. The only difference? One alarm, one decision, one quiet hour that changed his life. This is Englishshortandstories, where simple stories carry powerful lessons. If this story moved you even a little, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm rings, you'll have a choice. Comfort or growth. Sleep or old habits or a new direction. The secret of 5 a.m. isn't about waking up early. It's about waking up to your own potential.